It is absolutely atrocious.
Perfect.
Hello broskies and welcome back to another edition of Buy or Buy. And if you're new here, I'm Erkin and this is the life of a broski, where of course I bring you sneakers, lifestyle, and more waffle than Captain Birdseye. So broskies, I've actually lost count to the number of Air Force Ones that I've had on this channel. It's just because there's so many out there, so many different ones, and it's just a classic sneaker. I was like to myself, I'm done with the Air Force Ones, only if they bring out something very, very different. And of course, the one that we are reviewing separates itself from the crowd. So without any more waffle, on today's episode, I am reviewing the Nike Air Force One Iron Grey Recycled Pack. Now, before we dive into this sneaker, I just need you guys to see the state of this box. It is absolutely atrocious. ASOS, I don't know if I'm ordering from you again, because whoever you used, and I'm not gonna say their names, destroyed this box. Look at that, okay? There's a hole here, yeah? There's a hole there. What a mess. But this is pretty much the same box that we get in the Space Hippie pack and of course the Flyknit 2020. It's a statement by Nike that of course they want to move to zero emissions when producing sneakers. So it is pretty much the same box we've had with those sneakers that have previously been released. Now, there is nothing inside the box in terms of tissue or stuffing. Of course, there's only one sneaker because there's one right there. If you can see behind me, that's where the other one is. And we get this sort of lime green, I'm gonna say, sort of lime lemon, sort of sherbet looking laces. Don't know if it will pick it up on the camera because of my lighting. If you don't want to use the white ones that come with the Air Forces. So that's out of the way. Let's get into this sneaker. So broskies, there were a few trainers that Nike brought out with this recycled pack. We obviously have the Air Force One that I have in hand. There is the Air Max 92 alongside the Air Max 95, the Cortez, and what was the other one? I think it was the Daybreak, I believe. Now I did actually order multiple pairs from the pack. I ordered the Air Max 90 and the 95, but they are yet to arrive. Even these ones were pretty late in terms of delivery. The date is the 24th and I was meant to get them on the 21st. So that set this review back quite a bit. But of course, we don't cry over spilt milk. They're here now and I can't wait to waffle on about them. So it is pretty much what it says on the tin. The recycled pack uses a lot of recycled materials to create a lot of panels on this sneaker. And it is very evident in this iron grey colorway that the upper on this sneaker is not your conventional Air Force One. To start with, this canvas material replaces that classic leather finish, but there are those leather overlays to the Nike tick and of course at the heel counter. Now if you look very, very carefully, even though it is an iron grey colorway, you can see speckles of different colors, but it is something you would have to see in broad daylight right up close to notice. Another thing that has definitely changed is that tongue that has multiple colors that signifies that recycled look. It has that sparkly glittery finish with those perspiration holes going down the tongue, and on top of that is that Nike Air Force One tag. Now inside of the insole, from the previous recycled sneakers, there is that same green color and effect. Now before we move any further, on that toe box is of course that canvas recycled material. And I know what you're thinking, is it gonna crease? And I can confirm, yes, they will. It won't be to the effect of the classic Air Force One because it replaces that leather material, but I can assure you these will crease even with that canvas finish. So you might want to pick up a pair of sneaker shields, and I will leave a link down below if you do want to cop a pair, which should help you out. Now going to the midsole, we have of course that classic Air Force One look. Now if you look very carefully, there is that blue speckled finish. And of course on the outsole we have that color block of Celestine blue. But just to mention, the finish to the outsole is again that speckled look. And finishing off at the heel counter right at the top, on that leather panel, stitched in that barely vault colorway, is of course Nike Air. So broskies, there we have it, the first look at this Air Force One recycled pack. And I've got to say, I do like them more than I thought I would. It's just those materials. It gives it a whole new look. Now of course, like I've mentioned, this is the iron grey colorway, and they did release the ozone blue colorway too, and I kind of wish I got that colorway instead. Blue is one of my favorite colors, and the ozone blue just reminds me of that color teal, and there's something about teal that really does it for me. Now of course, these do retail for £90 here in the UK, and if you are thinking of getting a pair, I will leave a link down below alongside the sneaker shields, so if you do want to get both or either, check out the links. But broskies, when it comes to the sizing of this sneaker, these fit very much like the classic Air Force One. So I would advise stick to your normal Air Force One classic sizing. So when it comes to the comfort of this sneaker, does it do it any differently to the classic AF1, or does it bring something new to the table? Now broskies, I've got to admit, since I've been wearing the Air Force One Flyknit 2.0, which if you've been watching me long enough, that is my favorite Air Force One of all time. But since I've been wearing the Flyknit version, going to any other Air Force One, it's just not the same. The comfort isn't there, the breathability, and of course the light feel to it. But I've got to say, I do appreciate this sneaker on foot. The change in the upper materials just gives this sneaker a slightly different feel. But don't get me wrong, it is very reminiscent to the Air Force One Classic. So if you are expecting something much different, you would be disappointed. You could actually wear this on a daily and not feel a type of way. So out of 10 for comfort, I am going to give an 8. Now of course, changing the materials on the upper, does it change the breathability on this sneaker, or does it remain the same? Now for me, in my personal opinion, the classic leather Air Force One, even though they look great, an all white version in the summer just goes hand in hand. They're just not the most breathable, and that is why I stray more to the Flyknit versions, because they just give me what I want from a summer sneaker. But comparing this to the classic Air Force One, it is slightly more breathable, but in all honesty, there isn't much of a difference. And of course, it does weigh so much less than the classic Air Force One, but because it has that canvas finish to the upper, there still isn't that much ventilation. So out of 10, a very average 7.5. You could easily wear these in the summer in hot conditions, but I do have to compare it to the Flyknit versions. And when it comes to breathability, there is no competition. So broskies, we have come to the part of the video where I decide if these are a buy or a buy. Now, with the tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of Air Forces out there on the market, if you're looking for something very different but doesn't change that classic Air Force One feel, then I would actually recommend these. It's got that chunky aesthetic to the classic Air Force One, that same classic feeling and look, but of course changing the materials on the upper alongside those slight little accents in terms of the styling that do make it very different. So overall, I have to give this Air Force One recycled pack a buy. But anyways broskies, let me know what you think. Are you a fan of the Air Force One recycled pack? Are you interested in grabbing a pair from this pack? Or are you not a fan? Leave your comments down below, and of course I will be pinning the best one. Anyways broskies, that's enough from me. And of course, as always, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, and of course, until the next episode, take care.
You made a